Listen, there are things in your destiny that will never materialize until you start having encounters. I told you my story. I laid on the floor praying in my friend's house. I saw a giant horse. I was not even as tall as the hoof of the horse. And a force threw me on top of the horse. And the horse began to gallop. If it takes 3 steps, it's in another nation. What is the meaning of this? And then 2 weeks later, I had another encounter in a trance. And I saw an eagle. The eagle will stretch his hand and move from one state to another. And somehow, my eyes, it's like they put a lens and zoomed it. And the lens kept zooming like a telescope. Zooming, zooming, zooming. Until I saw somebody hanging on the wing of the eagle. As he zoomed, I discovered I was the one hanging there. A shock gripped me. I came out of the trance, out of shock. What is the meaning of this? I was teaching in Mount St. Gabriel. 3 days later, somebody called me. We heard about you. We want you to come to Ilori. Ilori, I've never been there. How far is it? I said, don't worry, I will come. I was excited to go and preach. It's when I went to the park and they told me the fare. And now say, come. How many hours to the place? They say it's over 10 hours. Who heard of me from such a distance? And we began from that day. Doors everywhere. Doors. Doors. Nations. Nations. If I tell you the invitations we have now, you'll be shocked. See the people. Owina is not the apostle, but he can't pick us now. Every time people meet me, they will say, who is this? Can we beat this man? Why doesn't he pick? Because from Austria to Germany to Switzerland to Italy to Cyprus, name it, India, everywhere. Am I the only one preaching? What am I preaching? I'm not preaching anything different from what others are preaching. Encounters. 4 days ago, a prophet called me and he was shaking. What happened? He had a dream. Because God speaks to him through dreams. And in this dream, he saw me, I was ministering. He said, if I talk, the power will hit people and lift them from the ground. And they will hang paralyzed for hours before the weight of glory departs from them. I said, okay, maybe that's where God wants me to enter. He said, man of God, relax. So what I'm telling you, you don't know it. He said, I came out sweating. And I told him, come, let's go. Let me take you to my room. And we started climbing a story building. And I went to the top. He passed the floor. He saw like 20 shoes. And he saw names of nations on the shoes. And he said the angel of the Lord told him every shoe here represents a nation. When he eventually got to my floor, he said there were over 1,000 shoes. And nations written on all of them. And he said, where will you go to all of these nations? I told him, I don't know. Encounters, they will change your life forever. A virgin can become a mother because of encounters. These are not things to take for granted. It's a dimension of faith. It's a dimension of honor. It's a dimension of love. It's a dimension of maturity in the spirit. And when God sees that love, sees that faith, sees that maturity, there are many things that he can entrust to you. Because encounters are for those God wants to work with. So you must demonstrate a depth of love, wisdom, maturity for God to open you to it. So the giving is not to bribe God. It shows God that you are ready. And when you are ready, one of the ways God reaches out is through encounters. Ask Pastor Sonny, how many international invitations we cancelled for just September and October? More than 10. If I start traveling, I can't preach to you here. You think we do foundation school? People graduate from 59 nations. It's because we are good preachers. Our strategies are not even good. Go and check the internet. 80 to 90% of the people who share our content, I don't know them. If you check our platforms, our views are not even much. Because we don't have a good strategy. If you see the boys who are working in our media, you laugh. They are still learning discipline. But the moment you cough, they wave. Do the announcement for 1 week. People apply from more than 60 nations. We graduated people from 59 nations. It's encounters. It's encounters. But I know the journey. I know the journeys of purity and holiness. I know the journeys of brokenness. When God will force you to go and apologize because he wants to break you. Where God will force you not to compromise like every other young person. When God will force you in prayer and fasting. All of that is to prepare you to love him, to worship him, to honor him, to grow in maturity. And in addition, where God will force